everyone, Kat here, your favorite ginger bibliophile. Hope y'all doing really well. And I've got a tag for you today that I almost didn't do because I wanted to, but this week has been insane between fluffy Jackie boy deciding to pee everywhere and thinking there's something seriously wrong with him, to realizing that he's just being a butt and acting out because his floor is wet because we have a leak, and then just being freaking exhausted. But I took my nap. We've got everything dealt with. Kind of. I'm still toweling and fanning and shampooing carpets. But we got the first layer of it done and trying some, get up the rest of it. Give it a chance to do its thing. But I saw this one probably on a bunch of people's channels. But the latest one is Ven's. So that's the one I'm going to be stealing the questions off of. And if you're not watching him, you're missing out. So I will drop his link down below, as well as the creator, because his is actually the one that I have pulled up so that I can see the questions. Because I'm never gonna remember, which is perfect because it's the "Don't you forget about me" tag. I won't make y'all suffer through my singing that song, but my fellow 80s babies, 90s, y'all know what's up. And I guarantee the creator knew exactly what they were doing with their Breakfast Club reference. So, like, I'm stealing some of his answers because I like the way that he answered them, or at least his interpretation of them. And the main problem with this one was trying to figure out, okay, how do I answer this without it being the same author every time? Because depending on how you look at these, it could totally be my favorite author every single time. But the first prompt is clean slate, books you've read that you don't remember. And I've got a lot of those, but also, like, kind of like he says, you know, he'll forget things, but then you read a little bit and go, "Oh, yeah, I do remember this book." So that is generally me as well, except for with big old fantasies that tends to bite me in the butt. I'm going, I remember it, and once I start reading, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember the overalls. I forgot some of the very important details." But we have Preston and Child's Brimstone, which is one of the books in the Pendergast series, which I loved it up to a point. Like, this was the first one that I ever found. It was in the used bookstore. Well, it wasn't even a used bookstore. It was a straight up thrift store in New Mexico, and that place. Oh my goodness, it was dangerous, but also amazing because they had this ongoing thing of you could get a bag of paperbacks for $2 and a bag of hardbacks for four. And they didn't have a whole bunch because I mean it was a tiny town of 8,000 people. A quarter of that was, broke college students, and we didn't have a lot of time for spare reading. So, it was, like two bookshelves basically. But they had this, and I loved it so much that I started getting all the other books up until about, Verses for the Dead, where it went from, you know, very mysterious, paranormal, of this has to be magic. Oh wait, no, there's actually some science to this. It's just very niche and it was done very sneaky, like magician style, you know, murder to, yeah, it's your regular old murder mystery, which is cool if that's what you're going for, but not what I picked these up for. So, yeah, I remember loving it, but I have not read this in several years. So I don't remember why, other than I know a guy died and something about sneaking in. I think this was like a closed door murder mystery, like, and something about them thinking it was the devil. As I start reading it, I will remember most of it, but it's probably been like 6 years at least, so yay! I don't totally remember this for now. One day I will reread that series and I'll probably go, oh yeah, duh, I do remember that. Genie Lamp Books you wish you could forget. And again, this could go two ways of I hate this, I want it taken out of my brain, and I freaking love this book, I wish I could experience it again. And thankfully, I don't have a lot that I'm like, I freaking hate this book. Most of them are just, it promised this, and it was that, which would be good if that's what I wanted. Or, hey, if I was into that, but that's not what I thought I was getting. But then there is one, and Vin will not be surprised when I go with I wish I could forget him because I hate him. Ah, Richard Lamont. Enough freaking said. I already did a whole video on why. Yeah. Anything by him, burn it. Kind of like, the coil for Matthew. And if you haven't done this yet, Matthew, okay, this is me tagging you, Mr. Man with the hat who reads. And then we have the cute little man who goes, oh, mommy got mad. Let me come be cute. Because you can't be mad with a cute little man, huh? No. Even when you're bad, you get like a spanking and a mean face. It doesn't really work too well. Good boy. Yes. Who's a good boy? Okay. Ah. You're gonna get me, and I know you're gonna spring off of me in a minute and go to your zoomies. Ah! Yep, like that. Whenever he climbs all the way up to just look in the chin, zoomies are incoming. And so is little man slobber on my glasses. But this is a part of the, last three questions or, yeah, last two questions actually, plus this one that could all be the same author. One of my absolute favorites, but we're gonna try to like spread him out. So for the other side of I wish I could forget it so I could read it again, we're gonna go with since it's Don't Die July and we'll be Summerween here soon. Oh, do you need tuckies in? We're gonna go with my favorite horror author and my favorite book by him, The Taking by Dean Koontz. I freaking love this book. It was one of the first I ever read by him, and it scared the crap out of me when I was 18. And I wish I could forget it so it could terrify me again, because that doesn't happen often, and it was fun. Yeah, I was reading this during the day with the blankie. It got me the first time. And let's see. Forgotten Gem, books that you think need more love. And once again, nobody talks about my favorite author, Christopher Moore. But, I've talked about him a couple times. I don't want him to be the answer to every single, prompt on here, which hint hint for the next one, obviously. But we're gonna go with another author that I have never seen here. And that is Dorinda Jones. This is, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's her Grim Reaper series. And oh, the glare on this is terrible. But yep, she's got a little skull there and the Sith, and it's a different way, but there is a skull in all of these because she sees dead people. It's got a bit of a romance and it becomes spicier as it goes along, but it doesn't, it's not the main focus. There was, I think it was the fifth book where her friend was getting married and it's like, oh, I should be focused on my best friend's wedding, but I just really want to jump this guy's bones. How am I supposed to walk down the aisle when I just want to go, go do the bridesmaid thing, but nah, I need to be banging him first. But she sees dead people, has since she's a child, which makes it a lot easier to like figure out who the murderer is when you can talk to the victim and go, who whacked you? But there's also a lot of sass, a lot of attitude, because some of these dead people are snarky. And then you have the scary guy from the dreams. That's scary, but also, oh my god, I need to let him finish doing things before I wake up. Which, oops, that could be awkward because you might get walked in on by the live-in ghost who doesn't say anything. He just stands in the corner being creepy. And yeah, but it's mostly I love all the crap. This takes place in New Mexico, mostly like in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, which actually I never made it to Santa Fe because at the time we didn't have the most reliable car. And that was quite a long drive, but we went to Albuquerque on a regular basis when I was living in New Mexico, so that was really cool. And one of my favorite bookstores there was Page One Books, and they had special copies that were signed by local authors. And I don't think this is one of them, no, but she is. They took place in New Mexico because that's where she's from, and it's a 13-book series. I can't tell you too much more without spoiling it, but it's Charlie Davidson. Yeah, they knew what they were doing when they named that child. And yeah, if you want paranormal that has a lot of attitude and ends up with some spice, check out this series. I think I mentioned them in a video once. I have not seen them anywhere else on BookTube. And then the last prompt, Forget Me Nots, books you will always remember. And another one that doesn't get talked about much, Christopher Moore and You Suck, a love story. This is the first book I ever found by him. It was at my local library when I was like 13. And after checking it out like 5 times and getting tired of, waiting for mom to take me to the library or, you know, so we finally got there and somebody has my book. I started saving up my lunch money to get my own copy. And yep, this is one that I had to, yeah, nobody's allowed to touch this one. I had to buy a second version because he signed it. Years later after I bought this, I went to go see him and doing a reading in San Francisco for his Shakespeare series, and I took this one with me, and he was nice enough to sign it for me, even though it had nothing to do with the current book. Because it's my favorite. It is awesome. I mean, it's You Suck, a love story. It is actually the second in a Vampires of San Francisco romance series, but it's him. Oscar, Franny, hush it. So it is he's a comedy author that you either love his sense of humor or go, oh my gosh, grow up, you're gross and weird and foul, because he uses some bad language. So he usually has a warning of do not give this to grandma, or hey, if you have a problem with this, you might not want to pick this up. And if an author has to warn you at the beginning, you know it's a good time. So, yep, my favorite book by him, so I will never forget this. As why I have every book he has ever written, which is not nearly enough. But I blame the publishers for taking 3 freaking years to get one out after it's finished with him and the editor. Because he usually will post like, all right, here's the first chapter. Once he's finished it, he sent it to the editor like, yep, this is gonna be the chapter that's in the book. And then 3 years freaking later, I need more. So, yep, if you got a really weird sense of humor or like a 12-year-old son, pick him up. I will never forget this author. I love him. He is so cool. Like, I've interacted with him online. I got to meet him. They say don't meet like your celebrity people. Yeah, I met him. It was worth it. He's awesome. So, that is my tiny thing. And the last prompt is to tag people. I'm going to tag Matthew because I kind of already have anyway. But other than that, I honestly cannot remember who has already done this since I'm so far behind on tags. So if you're like me and you saw it and thought it was fun, you're tagged. Go do it. And then tag me and I will watch. So, yeah. Bye. Happy reading.